name's Rachel and welcome to my first ever craft tutorial. Today I wanted to show you how to make a very simple pleated face mask, the must-have accessory for 2020. I'm going to show you just how to make, like I said, a simple pleated mask. You don't need too much to make it. You don't even need a sewing machine. You can do it by hand. It'll take you a bit longer, but you can do it. So all you need is some fabric. Cotton is best, I find. You don't need too much of it. You can get just a little fat quarter and that will make quite a few masks. Probably at least 3 you'll get out of a fat quarter. So you need some fabric, you need some elastic. The elastic I like to use is 6mm wide, so I think that is 1/4 inch. You will need an iron, and you will need some scissors, and like I said, either a sewing machine or needle and thread. Okay, so first I'm going to talk about the measurements. I've actually spent quite a while playing around with different measurements to find what fits me and what fits most people. So I'll go ahead and give the measurements now. So you don't need to cut 2 pieces of fabric, you're just going to cut 1 piece of fabric and fold it over. And I find that what works best is as follows. So for ladies, just a standard lady size, I find 19 centimetres across by 32 centimetres long is the best. And with the elastic, you use the same measurement as the width. So for standard ladies, you want to cut 19 centimetres of elastic times 2, 1 for each side. For gents, I find that 20 centimetres works. So 20 centimetres wide by 32 centimetres long, and again the same, so 20 centimetres elastic times 2. For me, I make a petite lady size, so I go a centimetre smaller than the standard ladies. So I would do 18 centimetres wide, and I also take a couple of centimetres off the length as well. So instead of 32, only 30 centimetres long. So that's 18 by 30 for the ladies, and I find the petite ladies, and also I find that the petite ladies works well for older kids. So say 10, 11 plus age of child, go for the petite ladies, 18 by 30, and again 18 centimetres elastic times 2. For small kids, I would go just a centimetre smaller again than the petite ladies or the large kids. So say children of age 4, 5 to around about 10, depending on the child, go for 17 centimetres by 30 and 17 centimetres elastic. So there you go, fabric, elastic, needle and thread or sewing machine, iron and scissors, and we are ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my fabric, fold it in half with the right sides together, and then I'm just going to give that a quick press. And then we're ready to go to the sewing machine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sew across the top of the fabric. So we're going to stitch from one end in almost to the middle and from the other end almost into the middle, but we're going to leave a gap of probably 2 inches in the centre. So I'm going to go ahead and do that step now. So just a straight stitch, needle down. You're going to want to forward and back stitch. Almost to the middle. And probably seam allowance wise, 1/4 inch maybe, a wee bit more. You don't need to be too precise. And turn it around and do the other side. Forward and back stitch to about there. and leave that gap in the middle. And you're going to want to trim off the ends here, the threads. And then we're ready for the next bit, which is the elastic. So with the elastic, you're going to want to sew this into the inside. So if you can see, I'm just tucking it in, and then just leave a little bit sticking out of the end there. And you can put the top and the bottom of the elastic in place and pin it and stitch it like that if you want to, but what I like to do is just get the top stitched, make sure it's nice and straight, then get the bottom in place and stitch it as I go without pinning it. I just find that an easier way to do it. So first of all, I'm going to stitch the top here. And what I find works well is if you forward and back stitch a few times over the elastic. That just helps because you're going to pull on that when you put it on, so it helps just to keep it in place. So we'll go ahead and do that. Just go over it and back a few times. So that's that one held in place. Then just grab the end of it, make sure it's straight and not twisted. And then you've got the other little end just poking out there, and you're ready to stitch all the way down. And again, when you get to the end with the elastic in, go forward and back stitch a couple of times. Here we are. So that is one side done, one elastic stitched in place, and all you're going to do is go to the other side and do exactly the same. So if you want, you can pause the video here and then meet me back when you've done that second step. Okay, so now we have sewn across the top with the gap in the middle, and we've sewn down the sides with the elastic inside. So all I've done is I have trimmed off the threads, and now we're ready to turn it through. What you want to do before you turn it through is, oh sorry, that ring light reflection is really annoying. There we go. So what you want to do before you turn it through the right way, which will help to just have neat corners when you turn it through, is just to snip the corners off just at an angle there. So just trim them, and then that means when you turn it through, it will help to get those corners neat. So all you want to do is just stick your thumbs in there and get it all turned through. Here we are. So once it's right side out, just give these elastics a little tug, make sure that they're secure and that your seams are all fine, and then we're ready to go back to the iron. So our next job is to get the pleats in, so we're just going to give it a quick press. And then we'll get these pleats pressed in place. So you don't need to be too precise. I mean, you can measure it out if you want it to be really precise, but basically you just want to have enough room to do 3 pleats of about that size. So fold a little tuck in it like that, and then what I always like to do is check that it's straight on the back as well, because sometimes you can put a pleat in at the front and then when you turn it over it's not straight, but that looks fine. So press it on the back, turn it back over and pop a pin in. Next one, just do the same again. Just put a little tuck in like that. Turn it over, make sure it looks okay at the back. Press it again. Turn it back to the front. Grab a pin. I like to use an old pair of mini ears as a pin cushion. And then your final one, same again. Make sure it's straight on the back, same as the front. Last one's always the fiddliest one because you've got less room. Press it. Turn it back over and put your pin in. Now you're ready for the last step, which is basically just to stitch around it all. So we'll go back over to the sewing machine. So you're going to want a fairly small seam allowance when you stitch around the outside of this, just because it makes it neater, and it looks better when you wear it if you don't have a really big seam where the pleats are. So, I mean, you don't need to go mega close to the edge, but kind of do it on the small side. I like to start on the long length, so let's go. Make sure your needle's down when you flip it round, otherwise it won't stay in place. The other thing I find, I don't know if it's my machine or you'll know what your machine is like, but I find the little teeth, the feed dogs I think they're called, they want to move my pleats, and you could put more pins in if you wanted to, but that, to me, that's just a bit fiddly. So I just like to make sure that I'm kind of holding the pleats in place as I sew it. Back stitch at the end. And there we are. So now all that's left to do is to take the pins out and trim the threads, and then it should be all finished. Get rid of those. And there we have it. One finished pleated face mask. Here we go. So when you wear the pleated ones, you want to wear them with the pleats facing down. Like that. And there we are. One finished face mask. I think that was pretty easy, and hopefully you found the instructions easy enough to follow, but you can always leave a comment or get in touch if you need any more instructions. But there we go. It can be fun. You can get different colour prints, you can get different colour elastics. I'm trying to think if I've got another one I can show you. Hold on. Did a fun Christmas one with red elastic. I have a Harry Potter one. Yeah, so it can be fun. If you have to wear a mask, then why not make a fun one? Yeah, so there we go. That was my first ever tutorial pleated face mask. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful, and please do let me know if there's anything else you want to see me make. On the list I have to film bows, knot bands maybe, and possibly Minnie Mouse ears. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you want to see, but I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on pleated face masks. Thanks for watching.